Thank you for checking out Hoops Hitting Gems podcast. I'm your host, David Jones. I want to thank everybody for checking us out again. We were off last week. I was a little under the weather. Thank everybody for being patient, but we're back in the studio as usual. Another good show tonight. We got a couple great guests in store for the show. Our first guest is my man, good friend of the show, Coach Thomas Carr. That is now with the Pineywood School. I don't want to chop up his school. He already got on me last time about it, so I got to make sure I get the school name right.
Gotta get the name right, man.
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm blessed, man.
I'm good. Hey, man, it's good, man. You know, we always chop it up. And so, man, we've been talking about bringing you on the show for a minute because, with you being in your new position at the Pineywood School, with you and Yusef out there, man, I once you put me on to everything that was going on, I was like, man, this is a nice little hookup that a lot of people probably don't even know about, man. So, I wanted to bring you on the show to talk about, the Pineywood School. So, man, tell us about the school before we get into the program.
Okay. So the school has been in existence for 113 years.
Okay.
It's a long time. It has never shut down. It's been a full functioning school.
Okay.
With grades from 8th through 12th grade.
Okay.
So back in the day, it was a powerhouse. It was a machine. So we have a lot of different entities within the program. We got our academics is really, really off the charts. We have kids that get academic scholarships and go on in different programs that we partner with different colleges and universities in the area. So it's a good school, and then, the school has its own 250-acre farm. So with cattle and all that stuff. So kids, they get to experience the agricultural side. So it's a good school to where you can teach kids about, the everyday living and teach them how to have a good work ethic.
Got you. So you said it's a school from 8 through 12, and just this year you added the post-grad program to it, correct?
Yep, correct.
Okay. So tell us about what you got going on with the post-grad, and I'm going to ask a couple questions attached to the post-grad in the school.
Okay. So this is the first year that, they incorporated post-grad. So as you might suspect, it's new to them. So a lot of schools around the Southeast region, especially like Louisiana and Mississippi, they're not too familiar with the post-grad situation.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that I had an opportunity to incorporate that here with me and along with Yusef Fitzgerald that's been around and college scene and the prep post-grad scene, we can incorporate it here and get people more familiar with it and giving these kids another opportunity and avenue to get them somewhere.
Got you. Okay. And so are you playing like a local or regional schedule, or are you playing a national schedule, Thomas?
This year, just because I didn't get the job until mid-August. Coach Fitzgerald didn't come to the end of July. So we didn't want to go with a full-blown national schedule.
Okay.
We wanted to keep it regional this year.
Okay.
Just because we didn't want to go too over our heads with timing and everything. So we got a nice little regional schedule.
Okay. Yeah. And so tell us about the roster you got this year.
I got some good pieces, man. I got 2 Atlanta kids. I was in the Atlanta area, so I had to snatch me a couple.
Okay.
I got AJ White. Is a heck of a player. He's from Chattahoochee. He's a really, really gifted, talented player.
Okay.
We got Najee Cologne from Kale. Another point guard Atlanta guy that's really, really good. He was with the Scoot Henderson kid last year.
Yes.
So he ran the show. So can play. I got a couple of kids from Louisiana that's really good, really talented. Jamarian Cato, he's a bruiser. Johnny Blyden's 6'7" athletic pogo stick from the Virgin Islands. My roster is really, really good. Really good. Really good. Got some good talented pieces. So
okay. And man, as I already know, you've been to Atlanta a couple times already. So, we got a chance to check you out. And, yeah, you do got a pretty good team. Are any colleges looking at any of your players?
Yeah, AJ White's.
You froze up, Thomas. Give it 1 second while Thomas's screen froze. Let's see if we can get him back. So he's going to log out and log back in. As soon as he logs back in, we'll get back to talking about the program. In the meantime, while Thomas is coming back, just to let everybody know, we got some big things coming up this present weekend. We got the Hawks Naismith Classic coming up. What's up, Dove, man? How you doing, bro? We got the Hawks Naismith Classic coming up, so we will be in the building for that. Last weekend, man, we were at TOC checking out some of the TOC stuff, and Thomas just logged back in. Let me get him back on. All right, you good, bro?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm sorry. We had a little storm came through, man. So
no problem. I knew you was coming back, and so we were just talking about some of the upcoming events for Hawks Naismith, and then Tournament of Champions. That was last weekend.
Right.
You good? You can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So we're gonna go back to talking about the Pineywood School, and we were talking about some of your guys that were getting some college interest.
Yeah, so I was in the middle saying AJ White, he has a few schools like Alcorn State, Jackson State, North Carolina A&T, and pretty much the majority of the SWAC schools are on him. And Najee Cologne is getting some buzz with some D2 schools, and my big kid, Johnny Blyden, every JUCO in Mississippi wants him, as well as Mississippi Valley, and I actually got a call today from Louisiana Tech. They'll be coming in Wednesday to watch some of the guys. So they got some guys that got some talent that's getting some buzz. So especially coming from a first-year pilot program, that's good.
Yeah.
So
definitely. And as our listeners were talking, as I'm just posting some of these out there, it's like, a lot of people from Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi know about the Pineywood School.
Right.
Thomas, I'll be honest with you, it wasn't until you got the job, I had never heard of it. But, I'm from up north and just coming to Atlanta, and when you start talking about it, and then once me, you, and Yusuf were on the phone, I was like, oh, man, I was like, man, I'm never heard this. So I was like, man, but I'm intrigued by it. But, especially by, the educational piece that you have that goes with it, which was impressive. When you said it was 112 years old, I was like, I've never heard of this school before. And so,
man,
I'm gonna make it a point to come out there.
Man.
Definitely, yeah.
You gotta come, man. And before I came, me and Coach Fitzgerald, that's my right hand, and we talked 2-3 times a day. And when he was telling me about, over here, I believed it, but until I came to actually see it and lay eyes on this campus, I didn't really get the full effect. And back in the day, man, they say this thing was rocking, and they got the trophies, and they got everything to prove it too. So we just trying to get it revived and get it back to where it used to be, and get some excitement back.
Absolutely, man, and that's what some of the listeners are saying, man. Y'all had to excuse me. I'm always down for history and programs that, bring this type of rich culture. I want to come check it out and see what it is. So, I was like, man, I told you, man, we talked on the phone, for about an hour and a half, and you
About
guys
an
were
hour and a
telling
half,
me
yeah.
about it, man. I was like, man, this is straight right here. I'm feeling this.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
it was just one of these things. Like, I'm like, man, I could see you guys definitely grabbing some more Atlanta guys. Definitely. I mean, and
Yeah.
Thomas, when you were at your old post grad spot, you were already grabbing guys from Louisiana, that area anyways. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I can see you keep on rocking what you're doing now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
we want to build and expand, and do it. I always been big on doing it the right way. Even when I was at Core 4 in Atlanta, we always moved at our own speed and do things strategically. And that's the same mindset I want to have here. So,
and man, I mean, you're well on your way. I mean, you guys are playing in good events. Let me ask you this, man. The other thing that I thought was interesting as well, like you got that good 8 through 12 part. So for the post grad guys, right now, can they take classes, or is it just like a credit recovery, or can they go like to the local? Do you have it set up where they can go to the local community college?
So we're going to do Hines Community College.
Okay.
We're partnering with them. They're going to take some classes with them this
Nice.
year. We hadn't got into the full credit recovery with our school just because the timing of everything. And then too, we went after all our guys that was pretty much good academically. So we didn't want that was a major emphasis, because that's a whole nother deal when you messing with guys that need the credits and you gotta know what you're doing.
Yeah, no question.
We didn't want to, with it being a pilot year, we didn't want to do that. So we just went after guys that was academically ready, that we can just put in a community college and take some online courses that way.
Okay. So how far is Hines from you guys?
Probably about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay, so like you said, all the classes they can just take right there at the Pineywood online, right? Okay, yeah. And you're gonna start is that this year or start next year?
Well, we starting at in January this year.
Oh, so you're gonna start these classes next month then?
Yep.
Okay. That's a good look, man. Thomas, man, we've been rocking together for a while, man, and I'm huge on that part. Like for any of those kids to have that educational aspect, especially with any post grad, I think it's important for all these post grads to be, connected to some community college, 4-year program, something like that. And man, that lets me know you guys are doing this the right way. So when you have these type of things, and for kids, I stamp anything like that. And when you can say, hey, we offer classes going to Hines Community College, and I'm sure those with Hines is connected with the state program, right, where they can go to 4-year schools automatically, right?
Right.
Yeah, got you.
Yep.
And yeah, man, that's big for me. And and it's ironic that we're even talking about this because I've been getting a couple of people just buzzing about, as we know post grad is going to pick up even more because of the transfer portal, because of JUCOs. A lot more people are going to start going to post grads, and now a lot of people are asking me, hey, where should I send my kid? And one of my first answers now is go to a post grad that is connected to either a 2-year program or a 4-year school. I understand that everybody is, everybody's, like you said, all your guys are, eligible this year and the qualifiers. So I think that's great. But you always want to say, hey, go ahead and take your introductory levels classes and get them out the way while you're in post-grad. Yeah, it's a year to train and get better, but you also want to get some college credits under your belt too. You know what I'm saying? And I harp on that, and kudos to y'all for doing that, man. Big kudos,
man,
bro.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Definitely, man. So, what do you guys, because, man, when you guys were, man, just schooling me, man, I still want to know a lot more about Pineywood and what y'all got planned for the future, what all Pineywood offers academically, man. Just school everybody, man, not just me And the audience is out here dropping
Gotcha.
comments and everything, man. So let them know, man.
So we have it's really almost the size of a college campus.
Okay.
We have two full functioning girls dorms, as well as a full functioning boys dorm, two boys dorms. So
Okay.
that the capacity in each male dorm, we can get 80 kids in each
Okay.
dorm, 80 boys in each dorm.
Nice.
So I think probably 45 in each girls dorm. So we had a capacity to blow this thing out the waters. The academic piece is great. So academically, they have different agricultural programs. They're actually implementing a drone program as well for the kids.
Really?
So yes.
Okay.
So the academic side is off the charts. I would recommend anybody to come to Pineywood. If you want some academic, you want to get better academically, they have it.
Okay.
The athletic side is just a bonus part, So the high school, we're in the Mississippi Association, so we in 1A right now, but back in the day, it was rolling. So this year we're trying to get the sports. We have sports for boys and girls basketball. We're going to launch the baseball program in 2022 of
Okay.
2022, and then we have soccer, cross country. We have all that. Archery. We offer all those
Hey.
programs, man. So
Archery? Okay.
archery. We have an archery team. So
Okay.
we have all that, man. And then, the day-to-day operations, the kids get to experience it going on the farm. They get to go on the farm and, help plant. Like they pick green before Thanksgiving break. They was picking greens.
Okay.
It was picking greens, so they get to learn the experience of, day to day, how to live, how to make it in life, and that's the one thing the kids don't have. I think, is the understanding of how to survive.
Okay.
And Pineywood is giving them that experience. And for instance, they have to do a work study in the morning before they go to class. 2 hours of work study.
Okay.
Whether that's going on farm working, and that's going to the mechanics. We have a mechanic shop as well
Really?
on
Okay.
campus. Yeah,
Okay.
yes. That's mainly learning. And so it's a lot of different entities that the kids will learn as their time here. So it's
Okay.
good for them. Kids love it. When you talk about a farm, you think it's just torture, but for the most part, they get to ride their horse and they get to do different stuff.
That's culture,
So
man. That's what it's called.
it's
It's culture.
culture. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's a good experience. We equipped for any and everything.
Okay.
A lot of stuff we're trying to get back revived, and so as you're trying to get things revived, it's a process.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So let
Yeah.
me ask you this, man. And this goes along with this. One of my big things about a post grad, I'm huge on, yeah, you're going for a post grad, to get an extra year of training. My big thing is, and I can vouch for you on this, Thomas, is, my big thing is having that 100% placement rate. It's not about always going to a D1. It's not about going to a D2, D3. And see, my thing now, learning about the Pineywood and having that rich academic, now I'm
Mhm.
100%. You guys can send your guys to some D3s, some high academic D3s, brother. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes, and
And
so that's one of the things.
go
Go ahead,
ahead,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. No, go ahead,
And
man.
that's one
I'm
of the
listening.
things that that I thrive on is a lot of kids with you talking about the placement, they
Yeah,
can get misled
exactly.
with this recruiting and the placement where you guys at. The way things now is it's all over the place. You know,
Okay.
it's not like it was years ago when you knew you clear cut was a Division I basketball player. It
Yeah,
ain't like that no more. It's
man.
unfortunate, but it's just not like that. And
No
so
question.
people have to be, and I preach to my guys about being realistically where you're at and what's your capacity. That's my job as post grad to get guys to, where they can be ready for college, but as well be realistic with them and
hey, you might need to look at this option here because you're not ready, and here's why. So I'm big on that, and I think that's part of why I had some good success with placing guys because I could be real and upfront and with guys, and they going off and does great things. And again, even with having Coach Fitzgerald here, he has guys all over the place. That, and it's good
Yeah.
to have for my guys to have two guys that have guys. You look on TV, and we probably got guys that's playing.
And
college
like you said,
basketball.
Coach
So,
Fitzgerald, he used to be at Hines Community College, so he got the the JUCO piece together. And I know our next guest will be looking at your boys too to see what y'all got. You know what I mean? Rico
come
don't
get
let
him.
nothing
Come
slip
get him.
by. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, he can come get him.
Okay. I'm sure he'll say something about that. When his time is to come on. But man, one of the other things that I look at as well. Like, you guys play, well, you didn't this year because you guys were just getting set up. But I already know next year you guys are going to be playing in those JUCO jamborees with the post-grad JUCO jamborees next year, right?
Right. Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay. Cool.
We with the scheduling, I wanted to do it, but the timing is everything, especially starting late and everything. But like I say, the schedule is still pretty good. We got to go into some other post grad events. We're going to my man's tournament this weekend in Bournesville. So tribute.
Going down to tribute,
So
MGP. Yeah.
Hey man, going to be with my brother, man. Gotta get some of his action.
Definitely. I'll be down there Sunday to check you guys out, man. So I'm looking forward to that. I got to go cover the Hawks and Naismith this weekend. So I'll be looking forward to covering that as well. But, the thing I love about post-grad, you guys always rock on Sundays. So that's always y'all day for me, man. Those Sundays, definitely.
Yeah.
So, man, and one of the other big things I want to make sure I mention this,
It's
Thomas.
going to be some good competition for right here.
There's one other thing I want to mention as well. Like, people understand, man, like, man, I got to give you your props, man. You are definitely one of the good developers in the game, man, as well. And, a lot of people don't know that about you, man. Like, it's not just Thomas bringing the team and he's coaching, but you be developing these kids, man. And they may come into you, as one way. And then when they leave that program, you be like, man, Thomas put in some work with these kids, man. That dude look like a different dude now.
Yeah. Man, I appreciate that, man. And that's like I say, I take pride in that and not letting kids leave me the same player they was,
Definitely.
I always tell them, I was telling my guys earlier, you did it your way, whoever way for the past 6 to 8 years.
Yeah.
You're here for a reason. Let's do it this way to see where you could be at in these 7 to 8 months. And so I got to give these guys credit. And my guys previously, they've trusted me. Parents have trusted me. And, it's a testament of me having faith in God and having good kids and good parents to where they believe in me and what I've done. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, like you said, man, you did a lights out job at Core 4. But what I think what you got going on there, to add that educational component that, with the Pineywood School, man, I think in the next year to 2 years, man, y'all gonna be rocking and rolling, man.
Man, that's our timetable. 1 to 2 years, we want to have it going because, like you said, every postgrad program or program needs to have a good academic situation.
Absolutely.
And we have it here. So the academic side is great. Now I can just concentrate on this athletic side and get it going, and I can stay in my lane with the academic. Without the academic, I can stay in my lane. So it helps when you got people around here, and the people here at Pineywood, they've done a great job of welcoming in and this post-grad program because ultimately, you know how it is when you get in a situation that, is not familiar. It's easily to be negative and kill it and stuff like that. And these people, Dr. Crisley, the president, and everybody, the staff, they've been open arms to this program and helping me learn more about Pineywood and get things going.
Man, absolutely, man. So there's one other question I definitely need to ask because I know people will ask this as well. And yes, I'm going to refer them to you. So let me ask this. So when people come for post grad, and let's go with tuition, how does the tuition work at the Pineywood?
Right now, it's a whole admissions process. They do a whole process. Just like you do. You have the application, get the general basic information, and then go from there. They'll do a financial assessment through that way, and then go from there. That's basically just basic general information and go from there.
So let me ask this as well. So with you being connected to Hines Community College, will they be able to use like financial aid to go there as well?
Yes, they will be.
Yeah, that's a big move right there too. If they're able to use financial aid to come to you guys too, man, definitely.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
and my last question, I got to ask this one. So, I know you got the dorms. I think that's great. And so, since I was schooled that this is the African American boarding school, I know that food is on point, right?
I told you we them kids picking greens. Hey, we picking greens, man. They got the okra, homegrown okra.
Okay.
Now we got some cows here. We ain't slaughtered them yet, but eventually we're gonna get to it.
Okay.
So it's all coming, man. Like we even got four ponds, man, catfish ponds.
Man,
yeah. So it's a dream, man. It's a dream. It's a dream school, So it's just it needs some work. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit up here and say that it's the perfect situation right now. Ain't no situation's perfect.
Absolutely.
It needs some work. We got to get here, get some work done, and my days be long and it's tiring and and frustrating at times. But it's a mission for these kids because a lot of these kids need this structure. So I'm all for the mission and trying to help and get things revived around here. Back how it was.
Absolutely. Man, you forgot to mention one thing, man, that I think is out of this world for them, man. You guys got a radio station there, right?
Yeah, I did. So we definitely have a radio station, a fully functioning radio station. So I'm not gonna lie to you and say what's the radio station for people that's in the area, but it actually plays. It's a gospel station that plays all throughout the day. We do have a fully functioning radio station.
Is that radio station connected to internet radio as well?
I don't believe so. I'm sure it probably could. But I don't believe so right now.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey man, brother, this ain't gonna be the last time you come on the show, man. I just wanted, for the people that didn't know about the Pineywood School as an option for prep or post grad, because you're gonna have a prep team next year, right?
We actually have a team now, have a high school team right now. So they've been out of commission with high school basketball for COVID last year, and I think the year before that. But we went ahead and started. It was talks about not even having a high school team this year. But kids was on. I'm gonna tell you, the kids here are great. So when I first got here, I got an email from one of the kids saying, "Hey, Coach Carr, we struggled losing. I want to get in the gym. Me and my guys want to get in the gym and work because we don't want to have the feeling of losing." And so we was like, man, we got to do it for these kids. And we played 2 games so far and should have won both of them, but for whatever reason, we lost. But they're out there competing, and it's a bright future. So we got some really talented. We got 2, maybe 3 guys that's really talented on that high school team.
Okay. Well, man, as you know, it's a process, man.
For sure.
I know in another year or 2, you'll have that built up just like you building up the post grad. So I already know what it is.
Yeah, man. It's work, man. It's work. I like it. I'm rocking the challenge, man. I like this. The part. This part is more exciting to me because now you come in and get that foundation going, and when it's going, now you can sit back and smile and say, "Yeah, I got it."
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then, it's nothing like seeing the fruit of that labor build, man. And like you said, you can look at this and say, we built this and we brought it back to what it used to be. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, man, like I said, man, thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate you, man. I want to know some more about Pineywood, but let me, before we let you go, how can the listeners reach out to you, man, if they want to know more about the Pineywood School?
Man, they can reach out to me on my email, everything lowercase, tcar with 2 R's, at pineyWoods.org. Or you can give me a phone call directly, man. I'm open to phone calls. My phone ring. I talk to you all the time. So it's
Can they
phone
reach you on Twitter as well?
Yep, on Twitter. I think it's I can't even remember my Twitter handle.
It's TCar88, bro.
Yeah, TCar88. See what I'm saying? I'll be all over it. That's why I'm finna give him a number because I be on the go with it. So, but if you got any questions, just hit me on Twitter, email, all that, man, and I'll definitely get back to you because more people need to know about this school. And
absolutely,
it's the best kept secret in America, and I can firmly stand on that.
Well, let me ask this: since you just said that, does the Pineywood School have a website people can look at?
Yes, pineyWoods.org.
PineyWoods.org. Okay.
We have a website. Yeah.
Definitely. Hey, Thomas, I appreciate you, brother. We're going to talk some more about this. And then, like I said, I'm going to see you this week, and I'm going to see you a couple more times in the next month or so with you coming to Atlanta and playing in some of these post-grad events. So, man, I wish you the best, man. And, man, thank you again, and I'm going to see you soon, okay?
I appreciate it, man.
Anytime, man. You take care, man.
Okay, all
right. That's Coach Thomas Carr, man. Real good brother, man. I mean, he does it the right way, and he got a real good situation there in Mississippi at the Pineywood School, which is actually not that far from Jackson State. That was another thing I learned through him and Youssef, and I was like, man, that's a nice little look. But before I get carried away with the Pineywood School, man, our next coach, listen, another brother, no nonsense, does it the right way. Listen, if you want to play and you want to get better on the JUCO level, and he's going to actually care about you as a human being as well as a player, you definitely need to check out Central Georgia Tech. So our next guest, with no ado, my man, Coach Rico Dawson. How you doing today, brother?
David, how you doing, my man? Thanks for having me.
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Thank you for coming on the show, man. As you know, man, we've been talking about doing this for a while as well, man. And I know when you got caught in the season, I was like, oh, man, I hope I can catch him during the season, man. So thank you again for coming on to the thank you again for coming on to the show. I'm looking at one of our viewers is giving me a hard time about Pitt's basketball team, man. Hey, listen. Hey, everybody goes through good times and bad times, but Pitt basketball will be back. But you're not talking about Pitt football right now. We'll be down in Atlanta at the Peach Bowl this year. I can't hear you, Ted. But, Coach, man, more people need to know not only about Central Georgia Tech, but one of the things that even came to my attention, and I know you're going to speak on this, like, we know Florida has good JUCO basketball. We know Texas has good JUCO basketball. We know Kansas has good JUCO basketball. But there's a really good brand of basketball in Georgia on the JUCO level that people tend to overlook. Now, have we gotten to the Texas and Kansas levels overall as a conference? No, not yet. But I'm sure you're going to speak on when we go to Hutch as a representative, we do quite well there. Is that correct?
Oh, that's absolutely correct. Every year we have a Georgia school in the national tournament. Cora Baldwin went last year and he represented us well. We went the 3 years before that. We represented well. The 3 years before that, Georgia Highlands went and they represented well. So our brand of basketball, I think what a lot of people get confused with other conferences, yes, our brand of basketball is different. Georgia is an athletic state, and I get a lot of kids from Florida and Georgia, Florida, New York, all over the country, Tennessee. And the one thing that I found that when you compare those athletes to our athletes, we're multi-sport athletes. That's why we can run fast and jump higher and things like that. I think in the last 10 years, we've finally caught up with the training aspect of basketball. But we've always had the athletes because our guys were always playing two sports. I know when I was in high school, if you didn't play football, you had or ran track, you had to run cross country. And then you have some football players that are playing basketball and basketball players that are playing football. So when I have a team with 3 Georgia kids, 3 Florida kids, and maybe 3 New York kids, my Georgia kids always stand out when it comes to the work ethic piece, the athletic piece, the being able to move and get from one spot to another in a hurry, to be able to run a mile in 6 minutes. That's what we require for our guards and our bigs, 6:30. So they're big. Our Georgia kids are more ahead than other kids, in my opinion, than other kids, based on that. Based on that, they played more than one sport throughout their high school career.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I want people to understand. Well, let people know Central Georgia Tech is located in Macon. Is that correct?
Yes, we're located in Macon, Georgia. So it's middle Georgia. We're in the middle of the state, can get anywhere in 2.5, 3 hours.
Okay. And you're maybe 10 minutes from Mercer, if that?
Yeah, I could probably, if I was in shape, Coach, I probably could jog to Mercer if I was in shape.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we're right around the corner from Mercer University. Macon State has a campus that's right down the street, probably about 2 miles from, maybe 1.5 miles from us. So we're right here in the heart. Macon at one point, in order to win a state championship, you had to come through Macon, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
And we're working through with the high school coaches in this level to try to get back to that state, to get back to that frame of mind. But I tell all my kids I get from Atlanta, New York, and I tell them, man, probably back late 80s, early mid 90s, this was Macon, Georgia is where the basketball players were. This was the basketball hub.
Oh, well, yeah, and I'm from Pittsburgh, and we knew about Southwest Macon.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we knew about Southwest Macon. We knew it very well. And from my time in my era, it was Eric Manuel. So
absolutely,
we knew about Eric Manuel very well.
Absolutely. We had so many before him, and we had so many after him. And like I said, we're just trying to get back to that state of basketball. We're coming. You let those guys in Atlanta know we're coming. We got some really good coaches.
Kuwaisi represents very well from Macon. And from my history lesson, one of our famous college players in Pittsburgh that didn't even go to Pitt, he went to Duquesne, Norm Nixon.
Right. Absolutely.
It's from Macon.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, so we knew all about Macon before, we really knew about Atlanta, to be honest with you.
Right. Right.
Of course, you knew about Atlanta now, but yeah, like you said before, it was people were coming out of that Macon, the Griffin area, because I remember Darren Hancock very well as well.
That Baldwin County area.
Yes, sir. Yes, exactly. So let me ask you this, and just like I was talking to Thomas, you have an excellent placement rate as well. Yes, you place a lot of D1s, you place D2s and NAIs, correct?
Absolutely.
And my thing is, I've always been that guy, and Rico, we've talked plenty of times about prospects, and I know your demeanor, and I know that you're going to take care of that kid when he gets to you. In the past, we'll just go in the past 4 years. What's your placement rate of your guys going to 4-year schools?
So in the last 4 years, we've placed all I would say all but 3 kids at the next level. And as far as moving on from NAIA to Division 2 to Division 3, we've had some kids that just didn't get an opportunity. And I think, well, 2 of those kids was just this past season with COVID, and with the 5th year, everybody getting an extra year. I think that kind of hurt everybody.
Yes.
My whole intention when you're talking about junior college basketball, my number one intention is to make sure that they leave here with a college degree. I know how important that is. I was a JUCO kid, and that is so important when you're talking about playing basketball and not knowing what lies ahead after those 2 years. And I tell my group, every group that comes through our program, and I only carry 12 guys. So this is the stat that I've come up with. I did some research just on our program and just some local programs in our conference. So if you got 10 kids, I'm sorry, if you got 12 kids on 2 of those kids out of those 12 would not play junior college basketball would not play basketball again after their 2 years of junior college.
Man, man.
So it's important.
Chance, man, can you tweet that out, man? And I'll retweet. That's a stat I never even, everybody knows about the 7% for high school. I never even thought about that for JUCO.
So like I said, I mentioned before, we have 12 kids on our roster. Every year, at least 2 of those kids will not play college basketball after their junior college year, whether it's because they didn't get picked up to get a scholarship, or maybe they had an injury that for whatever reason. And that's been, I always mention that to our group at the beginning of the year, once we start our conditioning, come out of our conditioning, and then at the end of the year, once we start, those last 4 or 5 games, just to try to get some guys to think about their future and where they're headed, to help them understand how important that that college degree is, whether it's an associate degree or a bachelor's degree and things like that. And you have, we've all seen a commercial that says you may not be able to go pro in baseball, soccer, or football, but you could be a pro doctor, or you could be a pro lawyer, or you could be a pro dentist or something like that. So I think that's the kind of mindset we have. That's the kind of mentality we have. Our first priority is to try to help our kids graduate, because you never know, for whatever reason, where they might end up.
Got you, man. And you touched on something, and man, I think it's so good that you mentioned it. Like, you've placed kids from JUCO to D3, because you don't see that often coming from JUCO going to D3.
Right. So, another thing that we talk about in our program all the time is that it doesn't matter. We're playing for the next opportunity. It doesn't matter where it is. It doesn't matter. I've had kids go Division 1, Division 2, NAIA, Division 3. It doesn't matter. We're playing for the next opportunity. And this is the example that I use. I know my mom could not write a $20,000, $25,000 check for me to go to school. So my basketball skills allow me to get a scholarship. And that's the message that we try to portray, or we pass along to our kids. And I always ask them, can your mother pay? Can your mother write a $20,000 check? No, sir. Can your mother write a $10,000 check? No, sir. So we got to try to milk this basketball thing for all it's worth to get to our next scholarship. And we've been successful, with that model, because you never know when that ball will stop bouncing. It could be from a freak injury. It could be from a heart condition. It could be from COVID, or that won't allow you to play again. It could be from anything. So we just try to have that mindset, and it's worked for us.
So and that leads into my next question, Rico. So my next question becomes, I know you're a JUCO D1 and you give out scholarships. So, like, for the kids that come there, and I know your JUCO D1, it covers pretty much everything, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so for the kids that are eligible for Hope or Pell, that money goes back in their pocket, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so when a prospect comes to Central Georgia Tech, is your expectation for them to come in the summer, or do you prefer them to come in August?
I prefer them to come in the summer. That when we've been successful when we've been most successful when we've had our kids here in the summer, and the reason for that is because a lot of people say, Rico, you're a hard person to deal with, and that may be true, but the thing about it is those kids need that time to try to figure it out. We don't want them to wait until August for them to get here to August, and then it's October 1 and they still trying to figure it out. We do all of our conditioning in the summer. We introduce all of our non-negotiables in the summer, and that way you figure out, and the kid figures out if this is the spot for him, and then we need to figure out if this is a spot for them. So you have that summer to come in, and believe it or not, David, I've had kids that come in the summer and they leave after 2 weeks, and they come in, they leave after 3 weeks, leave after a month, and that's good for them to realize that maybe this is not what I really want, because believe it or not, I'm a fun guy off the floor. But when it comes down to basketball, and you telling me you want to try to get to this level and you want to be here, then your actions are going to have to show that. And as a player at Southwest Macon, wasn't the most talented kid. I played with a lot of kids. I had to work my butt off to get the playing time that I did. And that's the only way I know how. So when you come play for Rico Dawson, just know that you're going to work, you're going to get better. And we're not going to use anything as an excuse of why we don't have and why we can't get and things like that. So we have some non-negotiables that we introduce in the summer. We have our conditioning protocols that has to be met before our players even go into the locker room, before they even get a t-shirt, before they get a pair of shoes, practice jersey, all that stuff. So, and it's just, and the reason I do it like that, because I want kids to feel good when they earn something. So many kids, are just giving things these days. And I just want them to feel, or just try to have a sense of, I earned this. I earned my locker. I earned my name tag and things like that. And you'll be surprised at what you get out of kids with a little work.
Absolutely. So let me ask, and I want you to harp on this one. People don't understand the high level of JUCO D1 basketball. A lot of people just take it for granted, like, this is just some misfits that, some of them may be pretty good. But what people don't understand, like, man, this is really mid-major and up basketball.
Right. Absolutely.
Agree? Yeah.
Absolutely. I was a couple of years ago, a couple of summers ago, I was speaking to a group of kids, and I had no idea what I was going to speak about. And I just walked out. I walked out to the bathroom, and I walked by a group of parents. It was a showcase after the coaches talked to the parents and things like that. And I walked by a parent, and I heard her say, "Well, if this doesn't work for little Johnny, we just gonna go JUCO." And it hit me just like that. That's what I need to elaborate on. So the thing about it, and it's funny, David, that you asked that question, because so many people have a misconception of junior college. When I graduated back in the 90s, junior college was a place where you could go and get stronger, work on your skill set. If you were a little thin, you could bulk up a little bit, work on your game, and then try to move on to the next level after that. Now it's a whole nother animal. It's a whole nother animal.
Yes, it is.
And when you think about the kids that have played in junior college basketball, you're talking about, you got NBA guys, kids that have played junior college basketball. I mean, yes, I know we went down to the 2013-14. I thought we were pretty good. We ended up going to Hutch that year. We go down and we meet up with Chipola. You got Sam Cassell's son on the team, just rocking and rolling all night. It's like, it's easy for him, and you got you know, a couple of NBA guys, brothers that's down in JUCO, and they bigger, stronger, ahead of you, so to speak, when you're talking about maturity and things like that. And then you get all the Division I kids that trickle down.
The drop downs, yes,
I
sir.
mean, you get those kids, and you know, imagine having to fight, have to go up against Georgia Highlands every year when they got 7 Division I transfer. Corey Baldwin down there in South Georgia when he got 3, and South Georgia Tech when they have 2, and you know, it's a battle every night. And then, you know, in order to solidify your program, you got to go down in Florida and play a couple of games, and you know, they got 12 scholarships and 12 scholarship Division I transfers that you have to try to fight against. So it's tough. I mean, it's tough. JUCO basketball is on another level. You got kids, you got 6'10s that can jump out the gym, that rebounded off the square, and guys touching the backboard, and you trying to figure out how to get to the front of the rim and things like that. I never forget my first year taking the job in 2012. We were playing Central Florida, and this year they end up winning the JUCO national tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And Tim Ryan had a great team. I mean, they were long. They ran a 2-3, and then they ran a 1-3-1. And I'm screaming to my kids, man, just drive the basketball. Let's try to get to the front of the rim. And one of my kids looked at me. He's like, "Coach, they so big, there's nowhere to drive it." I mean, they're just that long and things like that. So what I try to tell people, especially in Macon area, especially in the high school coaches, also, you know, in each level in basketball, wherever you are, there's a hierarchy of teams. There's the Georgia Highlands, the South Georgia Techs, the South Georgia States, you know, and then you kind of get to the middle of the pack, then you get to the lower of the pack. So I always try to tell high school coaches and parents, go to a junior college game, as many as you can, and then figure out what team your kid can play on. Because just because you can play high school basketball, that doesn't mean you can play college basketball. You know, does that make sense, David?
Absolutely.
So go and figure out what team you think your kid can play on. And there's levels for everybody. I mean, it's just like, you know, NAIA Division II, Division I to Division III. There's levels to junior college depending on the league. So figure out what team your kid can play on, and then every year teams in our league are just getting better with how they're recruiting, and everybody is trying to catch up with the top tier teams as far as scholarships. So they're trying to come up with ways to get more money and things like that. And we're competing with Division IIs. I know a couple of our teams in our league, we've went on and played some Division IIs and won. We've played some some NAIAs and won. We've been right there with a couple of Division I teams. So this JUCO thing is tough. It's really tough, and you have to be grimy. And I like to use the word nasty. You have to be grimy. You have to be nasty. And that JUCO is the real meaning of getting it out of the mud. I know a lot of kids like to use that term, but when you come JUCO, you got to get it out of the mud. It's traveling in 15 passenger vans. It's eating Burger King and McDonald's. It's all kinds of stuff. So it's good. It's good when you come out. The kids that come out of JUCO can really get it done. So when you go to the national tournament, there's a lot of teams. There's a lot of teams that don't recruit junior college kids, but when you go out to the national tournament, there's a lot of teams that do. And they want to go get those seasoned kids that have been through a little adversity, that had to fight a little bit for some playing time and things like that. So I would advise every parent or every high school coach to go check out a couple of JUCO games in your area so you can kind of judge of where your kids can play at.
And I'm so glad you just brought this up, because it leads, and I had a couple questions for you. My first question is, I mean, that was excellent what you just said, because, you know, a lot of kids don't even know about JUCO D2, JUCO D3, and JUCO Independent. And like you said, there's levels to this, and what they don't understand, and that's what my next question leads into, like, you recruit dogs. I know that. But even with you recruiting dogs, you already got dogs there that are sophomores and they trying to get on. So my question, because I want people to understand this, is how long does it take those freshmen to understand that, hey, you might not play right away and you may have to redshirt them as well?
Well, you know, David, I only carry 12 kids on my roster, and I try to have a mix of a little bit of it all. I try to bring in if I got a freshman, I try to bring him in as a backup automatically. From day one, he's going to be a backup. Because I want him to be able to fight. I want him to be able to fight with that returning guy or that transfer for some playing time, and for that transfer a sophomore to kind of show him the ropes, try to show him how to, you know what to do and how to get better and things like that. But for the most part, our freshmen, even with my son when he played for me, for the most part, they're going to hit a wall. They're going to hit a conditioning wall. They're going to hit a wall where they can't make a shot. They're going to hit a wall where they can't remember anything. There's going to be a time where Coach D going to be on his behind for every little thing. So they're going to hit a wall regardless of what the situation is. If anybody tell you that is different from that, then they're lying to you. So incoming guys going to always hit a wall. So the thing about it is, how do we help them get through that wall? And we help them get through that wall by continuing to push them, continue to hold them accountable, and just help them understand. I was listening to Coach Carr before when he said, just hold them accountable, and just help them get to where they are. Because whatever you learn prior to here, that was then. This is something totally new. You got to learn something new to help you get to your next spot. So we just want to try to help kids understand that, and freshmen get it hard. Well, it doesn't matter if I've had 6'9" kids that can jump out of gym as a freshman that come here and they think they can't play no more because ain't nothing going their way. And that's because it's not the fact that it's not going their way. It's because where they were before, nobody's held them accountable. Nobody's told them where they were going wrong. They just, and it happens all over the country where coaches just let kids do what kids want to do. And I think that's a big mistake, because when they get to the next level, when they have to do it a certain way, like I like to say, do it a certain way. And if you hadn't been doing it a certain way, then you just can't turn it on once you get to that spot. And a lot of kids like to say, okay, coach, well, I'm going to do that when I get to Division I. No, you're not. Because if you can't do it now, you're not going to play.
Do it then.
You're not going to, or I'll work on that when no, bro. They got 3 of you there. And the first day you don't get it right, the second day you're going to get it right, they moving on to the next guy. And it's harsh, but that's the reality of it. So we just try to help our kids. We just try to continue to hold our kids accountable. And I know a lot of coaches may say, Coach, there's no way you hold your kids accountable every day. You can ask any of my players that have played for me. We hold you accountable every day.
But those are details. Those are details,
exactly.
Rico. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So, and I hear, I know a lot of coaches, they may, Coach, we got to get through the practice plan. We can't spend too much time on it. If we get stuck on one thing, then that's what we're going to do. We may move on. We may start on the next thing the next day. But we got to get this right. And I think that's why we've been so successful, is because, like you said, it's about the details. It's about holding kids accountable. It's about helping kids understand that if you want to go to the next level and stick, it's a difference. If you want to go to the next level and stick, these are some of the things that has to be important to you. If you want to just go to the next level just to be there, and then you're going to start trickling down, then that's fine. But if you want to go there and stick, these are some of the things that you're going to have to do. These are some of the things that they're looking for. These are some of the things you're going to have to change about yourself to be able to make that happen.
But we have not really a new addition, but I know for you, like, post grad is up and coming, and I know you take post grad guys too. So now you got your sophomores, you got your incoming freshmen, but really that post grad kid is really kind of ahead of that incoming freshman now, because like I'm sure you've taken some of Tribby's kids in the past,
I have.
from Middle Georgia Prep.
I have.
And he runs a tight ship too. So
yep.
When you get a Tribby kid, it's what Rico is expecting. And now that freshman kid is even further behind the curve, because this kid, yes, he's a freshman, but he got a year of post-grad training. So how do you handle that as well? Because like you said, that freshman kid, he may be all region. He may have come in and did his thing in live period AAU. So you got him now, and it's a shock to that system. You know what I mean?
You're right. I'm going to give you an example. After we went to Hutch back in 2014, I went to watch a kid at an AAU event, and the AAU coach, and I can't even remember the kid name or the team he was playing for. It's been that long ago. Kid was great in AAU. I mean, he was great. I mean, he could really score the basketball. He can do all these things. So we got him down on a visit. Coach was telling me, he was a point guard and things like that. So we got him down on a visit, and you're talking about dealing with 6'3", 6'4", 6'5" kids on the wing that can stunt in a gap and close down on a lane, on a passing lane. And then we find out he couldn't pass because he couldn't drive it because we were so long. He couldn't get by nobody. He couldn't get by guys. But then we figured out he was a horrible passer because he couldn't pass it to the open guy when they were open, time was off, and things like that. So a lot of high school kids, I'm telling you, David, a lot of high school kids with a lot of post grad teams that are coming. A lot of high school kids are going to be in trouble because those kids are going to post grads. And when you get to a post grad like Middle Georgia Prep or over there at Carr when he was up at up in Atlanta at Core 4, when you got them guys that's really teaching how to get it done and really helping kids move on. And then you got more junior college getting those kind of kids instead of the run of the mill prep school. You know what I'm getting at.
I know what you're saying.
Some of them guys that just rolling out the balls and things like that. So so you have to think, JUCO guys, they want to win too, and they're going to get the best player. They're going to get the best players for their scholarship money. So we're not going out. I'm not going out to get just to get a kid. I'm going out with the mindset: can this kid help me beat Travis over at East Georgia? Can this kid help me beat JJ on a Thursday night up in Rome, Georgia, and we got class the next day? Can this kid help me beat Corey down? Can this kid, that's how I recruit here at Central Georgia Tech. And I'm gonna tell you a story. Back when I was an assistant at South Georgia Tech, Georgia Perimeter, Alfred Barn and those guys, David Dennis, they was rocking and rolling. So so when I got the assistant job at South Georgia Tech, my first order of business was to figure out what kind of players they were getting, how they were winning out that league. They were winning with undersized guys that were athletic and that was just tough and that just guard your behind and things like that. So I went out and started getting those kind of kids, undersized, that could switch everything on the perimeter, that could guard, 6'5", 6'7" kids that could guard guards and things like that. So we went and got Jay Crowder and Markel Smith and Paul Mitchell and Antonio Bell, and we kind of start matching up to them. And it's the same thing here. It's the same thing now. That was back in 2006, 2007, 2008, and it's the same thing. Can this kid help me with Georgia Highlands length and their press? Can this kid help me, down in South Georgia when Corey pressing you every possession and things like that? So when we go out to recruit, it's strategic and how we doing it and how that kid fits what we do. And I think a lot of parents and a lot of high school kids get confused with this kid can play, but can he play in our system? Is he my kind of kid? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he can play, but I may not need that position. I may not need a post player. I may not need a point guard this year. We're just not going to take a kid just because he can play. We're going to take a kid based on our league and what we need at the moment.
So, and I'm glad you brought that up, which leads to this question here, Rico. So, of course, how do you handle when you have a kid that's a qualifier and in his mind, he thinks he only needs that year before he's ready to go to the next level? And in your mind, Rico, you're like, no, you need another year, brother.
Well, first of all, David, it never works like that. It never works. Those kids that come in, I'm for me, it hasn't worked like that. I know for some kids, they've been able to move on after 1 year, but for me, it's never been able to work like that because I just try to get kids to understand that there's certain tools that you're going to need to have to play at the next level and stick. You're going to have to learn how to play the game, so to speak. So every time coach put in another kid before you, don't get in your feelings about it. Let the coach the team, and then you just continue working. A lot of kids want to, coach didn't put me in. I'm better than the kid. He played before me. I bust the kid up every day in practice. All all that stuff they like to say. But they say it all the time. I'm better than this kid. How this kid get there? I'm better than him and things like that. But it's just some tools that kids have to take with them to be able to play at the next level and stick, and just being disciplined, holding yourself accountable. Because you could lie to a coach all you want to, but that guy looking back in the mirror knows the truth. And he knows the truth. You know what I'm saying? So you just have to. And what I try to tell kids, man, just understand how to play the game. Do what you're supposed to do, and then let the chips fall where they may. You can't. Basketball is one of those sports that karma can come back either the next day or 2 weeks late, 2 weeks from now. But it's coming. So you can't do all that talking. Just like I got a kid today in practice, he was doing all that talking about what he did and all this kind of stuff. And I said, remember, you got to be careful now. So let your game speak for you. It'll speak louder than you can. And then the next 3 trips, he turned it over 3 straight times. I called timeout. I said, I told you, you got to be careful what you do when you're playing this game, because like I said, it could get you 2 minutes from that situation, or it gets you 2 weeks down the road when you're at the free throw line. You need to make a shot to win a game, and because you've been cheating the game, you miss it. And that'll happen. A lot of people don't believe that, but I really do believe in karma in terms of playing basketball.
And, Rico, one of my next questions that goes along with this, but this is on the educational side. People have to understand that in order to get to that 4-year school, they also you got to graduate from Central Georgia Tech.
Absolutely.
If you're not a qualifier, correct?
Right. Absolutely. You're right.
And so, a lot of times people don't even understand that aspect. So, a lot of times for freshmen, it's such almost information overload on and off the court that what needs to be done to get to that next level. You know what I mean?
So every time we bring a kid in, we like I said, we try to do the best job we can at knowing everything we can about the student athlete. I mean, I've even been in high schools where I've asked the janitors about kids. I've asked the counselor about kids. You got some high school coaches that tell you anything just to say, "Oh, I got my kid signed here," and things like that. So you got to go to the people. You got to go to the people that know. My wife's a school teacher, and she always has a relationship with the cafeteria workers. So the cafeteria workers know all the kids. They know how bad they are. They know the good ones. They know the bad ones. They know the troublemakers. They know it all. So I've been in situations where I've went and asked the counselor about a kid. I've asked the janitors. The custodians. I've asked, just try to get as much information on a kid as possible. So when a kid is sitting in front of us, we have this plan mapped out. If he's a qualifier, we try to let him know what classes he needs to take off. But of course, a kid who's a qualifier going to come in and sit in front of you and say, Coach, I just want to use it for 1 year, and then I just want to I want to move on and things like that. Then at the end of the year, they don't have the year that they thought they were going to have. Oh, Coach, I want to come back and things like that. So I just smile at them, David. But you may have one that may be able to move on if he got the numbers and like that. But it's also important to get the right fit. Anybody can move on when you just chasing after a Division I scholarship or a Division II scholarship, but it's difficult. It's a challenge when you're looking for the right fit, and I think that's important. I think Rico, that's very, very important.
You hit that on the head right there, brother. It's that fit, and like you said, I'm like, I'm gonna do a year, and then Coach, I'm gonna go ahead and move on, but then it doesn't work out. Now they're upset. And to be honest, you have a plan for them, and sometimes that plan is a 2-year plan, but in their mind, it's a 1-year plan.
You're right. It's a 2-year plan, so we try to have classes scheduled out for them. This is what you're going to take this semester. This is what you're going to take, second semester, and things like that. And when you're talking about in terms of understanding how this works, like you said, you got to graduate. If you're a 2-year guy, you got to graduate from junior college. And it goes back to what we said in the beginning. My job when you come to Central Georgia Tech is to get you graduated, regardless, because you never know what's going to happen. So when you're done and nobody's beating down your door, at least you have an associate degree. Now you can go get you a job. Now you can go get you a job and continue on from there. So but today in today's society with kids and scholarships and things like that, kids don't really want to hear it. So, but one thing about us, we're gonna give you the truth whether you like it or not. And we just try to keep it as transparent as we possibly can.
Absolutely, man. And so, let me touch this one, just getting off of this subject real quick. So last year was the first year for a JUCO live period, and they had a huge one in Alabama last year.
No, last year was did they have it? This past summer was the second.
I'm sorry. It's December. I'm sorry.
June, this past summer was the second year. It was the second year for it. Yep.
And that was the one that was at Faulkner, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and man, they said that thing was packed out. Just like because it was the same weekend as the GHSA team camp. And so is that more team related or is it individual related?
Well, what I've tried to do is, and we go back to me I usually try to have 7 or 8 kids enrolled in school, going through our protocols and things, if you want to call it that, in the summer. So the first year in 1920, the summer of 1920, when they first had it, we had 7 kids already enrolled in school, and we had just signed our 8th kid by the time they had that JUCO live period. So we had 7 kids, and then we just picked up the other kid on the way too, just so he could play with us, just so we can have 8.
Okay.
But in events like that, I made it as a team event because I only had 1 returner that year. And then at that time I had 6 new guys, 7 new guys with the 8th guy. So it was good that we had a chance to play in some games early with each other. I know a lot of coaches use it as an individual event, but I just think, in order for us to, and we always keep in mind Hutch as the end goal. I think in order to get the Hutch to win our league, the earlier we can start playing as a group, the better off we are. The earlier we can start playing as a team, the better off we are. The earlier we can start playing as brothers, the better off we are, and that'll help us down the line. when it comes to terms of trying to win some games on the road and things like that. You got to have that brotherhood type stuff going on. But I know some coaches that they just use that individuals. They just bring in all their kids just for 2 days of practice and just go play. I've never been that. My basketball background won't just let me roll the ball out. I'm sorry. But it's a great event to get your guys on college coaches' radar. The first year we had it, I know it's like 150, 200 coaches. We didn't play in this past summer event, but I did drive over there to watch, get an edge on some teams in our league, see what they had, see who they had been recruiting. And there was a ton of coaches over there.
Yeah, they said it was like 220 coaches there, man.
It was a ton. And then, I always tell my guys, if you can't get yourself up ready to play in events like that, then you need to find you something else to do. So and I've used this before, so I know JJ probably listening over at Georgia Highlands, but I've always used this right here. They've always Georgia Highlands always ran a great program. They've always had 5, 6 Division I transfers, and we've always been the underdogs. And I always use it at my guys. If you ain't ready to play this game at this magnitude against these Division I guys, I'll say y'all want to play Division I basketball. Here's your test right here.
Here it is, yes, sir.
Here it is. So it's all players. It's players against players. All that other stuff, all that talking, that tweeting, that Instagramming, all that stuff is out the door. Now it's player versus player right here. Let's see what it is.
I couldn't agree more with that. And one of the other things, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, like you went last year and just to take a look, think about those guys that are freshmen and come in there and they are shell-shocked when they get to those JUCO team camps because it's a different brand of basketball. It's faster, it's stronger, it's a higher IQ. And these guys they're not saying it, but you can see it on their face, like, what have I got myself into?
Oh, you can definitely tell. You could tell by the way they play. And it's natural when you got a high school freshman coming out and then he got a 6'9" kid that's playing on the post and he's dunking everything around the rim and everybody's talking about him. Then your team got to play him next. Come on, David. What I'm saying? Come on. And then you got guards, 6'4", 6'5" guards that's grown men that worked the job, last year and things like that. But that are hungry though. That are hungry, that don't want to go back to working a 9 to 5. They want to milk this basketball, get as much out of this basketball as they can. And it's just tough. It's just tough for some high school kids. Even with my son, he had some challenges coming out because guys were a lot stronger, a lot faster. They could cover down in passing lanes and things like that. So it's an adjustment for freshmen. But if they can get it, they'll be fine. It's gonna take some time. I got a kid right now who's a freshman. And when he got here, David, he was shooting the lights out. I mean, he was knocking down everything. But then when we started getting up and down in competition and he had to rush his shot just a little bit.
You threw it off.
And it was all over the place. I mean, it might have been long, short, side of the backboard, but when he got adjusted to the speed of the game, then he was fine. But they're going to, like I said before, they're going to hit a wall. It's just how they continue to fight and work hard to get past it, and they'll be okay.
Definitely. Man, one of my final questions as well, Rico, we talked about, you send them to the JUCO team camp. I already know you usually play in Corey Black's JUCO event. You usually play in Chris Watkins' JUCO Jamboree event. So you're getting them the college exposure, like you said, in front of all those coaches that we're talking about. And then, of course, finally you're getting them ready, like you said, the end goal is to get the hutch. You're not looking just to be a mediocre 3rd or 4th place team. One thing I want to ask, man, is, the thing about JUCO is you got to re-up every year.
Yep.
And with you re-upping every year, you may lose 4 or 5 or 6, and you got to bring in 6 or 7. What is your, not really your secret, what is it, your philosophy would be a better word, to continue having that winning culture, because you're changing out basically every year?
Well, I think what has worked for us, man, is just having. You can't get out and see every kid. You can't.
Yeah.
There's no way possible. You can't get out and see every kid. But that's where relationships are so important with guys like with Tribby at Middle Georgia Prep, with Carr that was up at Core 4, who's now at Pineywood, and Youssef, who's running that program over there. It's just the relationships to help you get kids that fit what you do. So, for an example, I'm gonna use Youssef for an example because he and I talked a lot. When he left Hines, he had a couple of kids. He's like, Coach, I got a kid. I know how you play, and I think he'll fit your program. I'm not gonna be there, but I want to help this kid find another JUCO. So those kind of guys, those good guys, that try to that's in the business for the right reason. Let me say that.
Yes.
To try to help kids move on. But it's a challenge. It's a challenge to try to re-up. It's a challenge to try to get kids that fit what you do. That's why you got to start early. You just got to do your background work on kids these days. You know, kids will fool you now. They'll get in front of you and tell you all the stuff you like to hear and things like that. But you got to do your background work on them, and then just getting kids. I've always taken kids that has been under the radar, that just has something to prove. And I've always been that kind of guy. I just felt like as a player and as an assistant coach, I just even as a head coach, I always felt like I had something to prove. And that was just my going force, because I felt like I just had to prove that my kids can play this game. I had to prove that I can coach at this level. And that's why we've been successful. I just work my can off to try to figure out how can I gain an edge? Where is that edge? And how can I exploit that? And I think just getting kids that have been under the radar that nobody know about. I know the 3 years we've won the conference championship, Corey Black, every year Corey Black called me and say, man, where did you get these kids from? Who are these guys? Because by the time we play in his jamboree, nobody knows them, but everybody's talking about our kids and how hard they play and things like that. And because all the kids that can quote and play, those are the kids that everybody talks about. The kids that already has the talent and things like that. But I really believe in our player development when it comes to in terms of working hard and getting guys better. And I agree with what Coach Carr said earlier. If a kid is the same kid when he leaves me, then I didn't do my job. So he has to be, we just work our can off to try to help kids get better and improve some point of their game, some part of their game.
Okay. Hey man, like I said, it was ironic that I had both of you on at the same time, but I thought it was a blessing to have you both at the same time, because one of the things I'm big on is people need to understand what's required of a work ethic to be successful at a post-grad as well as a JUCO. It's not no walk in the park. And you two being on today further solidified that. And I do have one last question before I let you go. And you've been tinkering on a little bit. When you're out looking at these high school and AAU kids, what do you look for in a prospect that says, okay, this is a Central Georgia Tech guy here?
Well, we always talk about, when you're looking at high school and AAU, today everybody can play basketball. Everybody can play. So it's kind of you just kind of have to weed through all the BS, so to speak. So we just try to figure out what I like to do is I like to try to sit as close to the bench as possible, in those high school games, to see if the kid is mouthing back at the coach, or if he got something to say, or if he blaming his teammates, or how's his body language and things like that. And so it's difficult So you have to be able to see kids in different situations, in different elements, in different games, and things like that. But one thing I try to pay attention of, I always look around and try to find the kids' parents to see how they act, because that can be a turnoff too.
Absolutely.
Kids, this is not high school. And one thing a kid parent is not going to do is tell me how to run my team. The kid parent not going to do that. So parents, sometimes you can cheer or scream or yell your kid out of a basketball scholarship because coaches don't want to deal with that aspect of it. But just trying to figure out, does the kid fit what you do? Is he doing the things that you require in your program? Like, for an example, like sprinting back on defense. Or if he's going to blow a layup, is he going to be the last one back? Or if he turns it over, is he not going to get back? Because those are the things that I require in my program. I don't care about you missing a layup or a jump shot. You're going to sprint back in defense because we're not going to give up a transition bucket. You know what I'm saying? So little things like that. I guess, if the kid is showing your non-negotiables and things like that, and we have several in our program. Is he communicating on defense? Is he trying to figure it out with his teammates? Is he having a conversation with his teammates, or he's yelling and blaming it on his teammates? And that when it's in those tight games, those AAU games and things like that, guys will stop playing in the middle of a play. No, you can't do that in junior college. You stop playing in the middle of the play, we're getting dunked on. You know what I mean? So how does he talk to his teammates? Does he care about his teammates? Is he about self? And you can all tell that just by watching him play. If he shoots it every time he gets it, he's probably about himself. If he and for an example, my point guard has to be a high IQ guy. He has to be a willing passer, and he has to be able to beat me on the floor. That's what I look for in my point guard. I don't look for a scoring guard, because if I look for a scoring guard, I might as well sign a scoring guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So my point guard has to be that. My fours and my fives have to be a 5 that knows he's a 5. I don't want to sign a 5 that thinks he's a 4. So he has to know he's a 5.
Or 2.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the 5 has to know he's a 5, because there's certain things, there's certain non-negotiables that we require of our 5. Now my 4 the same way, my 3 the same way. And my guards, my 1, 2, and my 3. Those 2 guys or 2 guys or 3 guys or whatever it is, they're gonna take. They know when they come in, they're gonna take most of the grunt work. When I say that, they're gonna get all the chewing, all the butt chewings, because those are I think the most important positions on the floor. And I've always been told this, David, that you can play this game without bigs, but you can't play it without guards. So that's why I hold my guards in high regard when it comes to doing it the right way, getting the job done, defending, being able to defend on the perimeter, being that guy that's going to communicate with our bigs and things like that. So, and those non-negotiables are what has been, the cornerstone of our program. And I don't waver from them. Either you're going to do it or you don't play. Either you're going to do it or you're not going to be here. It's just that simple.
Clear cut. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, Rico, man, this has been definitely a blessing, man, having you on. Man, I'm going to cut a couple of these clips because, man, so many kids need to hear what you just said tonight. Man. It's just, I'm only being honest. I mean, even some of our AAU kids need to hear this, because it's just the cold, hard truth. And if whether it's you or somebody else, if you don't adhere to some of these non-negotiables, it's a done deal.
It's a done deal. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to let you go, David. I remember when I was in high school, at Southwest High School, I played for Don Richardson, who if you know anything about making basketball, you know who Don Richardson is.
He's a legend.
And he had a system. This was his system. So if you played 9th grade basketball, you moved to what they call back in my day was B team. or now they call it JV.
JV, yeah.
If you weren't already on varsity in the 9th grade and skipped the 10th grade or B team, or if you didn't get moved up from B team to varsity, when you're in the 10th grade, your basketball career was over. So there were no 11th and 12th grade B team or JV players. So if you didn't get moved up to varsity by the time you got done with your JV, your B team season, your basketball career was over. And
you had to transfer.
You had to transfer. And speaking of that, that's why they built Southeast High School, because a lot of kids didn't get opportunities to play sports. So that's why they built that other high school at Southeast in Macon.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. and like you said, Macon has some good ball. It's always had good ball. I mean, it's not like the eras we're talking about right then, because back then Macon was the mecca of Georgia basketball at that time.
Absolutely.
There was no ifs, ands, or buts. And there's like I said, like Kwesi Senior is down there. He does a good job with getting kids' attention down there and stuff like that. And I think it's just a matter of time before they keep building it up. They got the Hardwood Classic down there. You got the guys from Warner Robins that do a good job. And
absolutely.
Baldwin won the state championship. And what's so wild is Baldwin won the state championship, and a lot of people don't even know about Baldwin still.
Right. Baldwin used to be, I remember this right here. I was in the 10th grade. No, I was in the 10th grade playing varsity. And we played, it was 1989. We won state championship at Southwest. We played Baldwin County High School, home and home. We played in the sub-region championship when they had sub-regions back then. We played them in the region championship. And then, you split off. And then we met them in the state championship game. So we played them 5 times that year with Baldwin County. But you tell those guys in Atlanta, we coming now. We coming. Middle Georgia, South Georgia, we coming. We coming. Okay.
Hey, I know if Locke is listening to that is music to his ears right there. That is
we got some good guys that are really, like you said, some good high school programs that are really turning the corner. We got Kwesi Reeve that's doing this thing with Height South for the boys and the girls. And then we got some high school coaches, like you said, Baldwin. We got Marquincio Harnett that's over at Southwest right now. He's turning that program around. We got Jones County, my guy Buck over there at Jones County, who's doing a great job. My guys over at Warner Robins, who are always doing a great job with their program. So we're coming. So just be ready, David.
Okay, and listen, and I'm like, we went down there last year for the Warner Robins Invitational for their little holiday showcase, and we went down there, and it was a nice little showcase they had, man.
Right.
Definitely, shouts out to them on that, and they're building something down there because they got the freshman. Well, he's not a freshman; he's a sophomore now. Cameron, forgot his last name, but for Warner Robins, he's going to be a good guard as well, man, and it only helps Georgia basketball as a state, man.
Right. Absolutely.
Everybody knows about Atlanta, sure, but like I said, people don't understand about Cam Perkins. That was his name, Cam Perkins. Right. But people don't understand the history about Southwest Macon. You know what I mean? People don't understand about that. A lot of people don't understand Augusta basketball, some good basketball.
Oh, absolutely.
People don't understand about Savannah basketball. Got some killers down there as well. Absolutely. And Valdosta too. Absolutely. Now we were fortunate to have some of those guys on our AAU team. So like, oh, they can play.
They can play. We just don't get the notoriety that other programs get. We don't have those AAU teams and things like that. So our kids kind of get put on the back burner, but we're coming. Like you said, Metlock, those guys do a great job down in South Georgia with Ernest Brown and all those guys down there. Ravi Givens, there's some players down in that South Georgia area. I have one on my team right now, and he's doing really, really well for us. So we're just trying to help him continue to get better and continue to help him understand how to be a basketball player. help kids understand that when you get to that next level, it's really not about basketball. Basketball got you there. So we got to try to figure out how you can stick by doing the other things. And then in middle Georgia and things like that. So we just coming. You tell those guys we coming. We're coming, and we coming in a hurry.
But there's one other thing I know you'll agree on as well. Not only is South Georgia coming, but Georgia JUCO basketball is coming.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people, that don't know, sure, like I said, it's not the prestige of the Kansas, the Iowas, the Floridas, the Texas, but it's coming. And, like I said, the more noise Georgia basketball makes at Hutch, people will start to recognize and listen like, hey, that's not a bad brand of basketball. So, on top of the South and, East Georgia and everywhere else coming, like Georgia JUCO basketball is here. And, we putting people on notice.
Well, when you're talking about, just comparing the two leagues, you're talking about Georgia basketball and Florida basketball. I mean, we've been pairing up with those schools early this year, and we've been very successful. We beat Gulf Coast. I think South Georgia Tech may have beat Eastern Florida. Albany Tech may have beat Santa Fe or something like that. So we're trying to get where we need to be, but we can compete with those teams, and all those a lot of those teams down there are ranked, so to speak. So when we go down there and we tap one or two of them, it's always good for our league. But those guys are good guys down there. We all know those guys. Bump into them on the recruiting trail and things like that. But like you said, Florida JUCO, Texas JUCO, Kansas JUCO, those are the power fives of the JUCO world, the state.
Absolutely.
So when you can match up with those guys and play well and maybe squeak out a win and things like that, it's good. Again, it's good for our league.
Absolutely. And, I think it's only just going to continue to come, as we continue to move this in the right direction. I mean, we already know Georgia basketball is here. I mean, it's on the map. And, like I said, the whole thing now is just keep building a better brand.
Absolutely.
And man, Rico, like I said, man, I could rock with you all day talking basketball, man. I appreciate you so much, man. And you coming up here and just giving just the flat out truth the way Rico gives it, man. And I mean, these kids need to hear it. And, unfortunately, we've gotten into scenarios where, unfortunately, a lot of kids aren't told this young. It's, oh, you're all world, you're all this, you're all that. And when they get to Rico Dawson, they're like, this is the first time they've been told the cold, hard truth. And sometimes It's hard for them to deal with that.
Oh, I agree. I mean, when you're talking about coming into our program, when a kid has to make a mile in 6 minutes before he can even go in the locker room or before he can even get a T-shirt or a pair of shoes, that's a culture shock in itself. So that's just another piece of those that non-negotiable that we just not going to waver from.
Yeah, I just look at it, man. I think that's what's needed. And let's even go with off the court. When they have to work like that on the basketball court, that's going to transcend into real life as well.
Absolutely. It's that accountability piece. It's that discipline piece that you're going to need during those life lessons, so to speak.
Man, anybody that doesn't consider that type of program, or as we like to say, they're afraid of that smoke because they don't want accountability, then Central Georgia Tech is not the place for you then.
Absolutely. And I have no problem with telling parents that. And I'm going to say this before I go, we always try to, hold our kids accountable and things like that. And we bear crawl for punishment. We don't run because I don't want you, confusing conditioning with punishment. So for our punishment, we bear crawl, and I let kid know now before you sign this LOI. I just want to know now, you late for class, you're going to bear crawl. No matter if it's a minute late or whatever. You late for class, you're gonna bear crawl. You late for workouts, you're gonna bear crawl. You late for study hall, you're gonna bear crawl. So you need to think about that before you.
They won't be late for too much longer. Once they start that bear crawl.
I've had. I think in my 10 years here at Central Georgia Tech, I think I may have had 2 kids that was late twice. So, but you know,
that bear crawl to make a man out of you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
definitely, man. Rico, I mean, I appreciate you so much, man. I was looking at your schedule, so I'm gonna definitely contact you because now that I'm running that JUCO Nation, I want to come check you out and tweet out about some of those games, man.
Okay, yeah, just let me know whenever you can get down, Dave. You're always welcome, man. And again, we'll stay in touch. I'm gonna call you next week sometime once we get done here. Make sure all our kids are done with finals because there's a couple of kids I just want to ask you about up there in that area.
Absolutely, man. You can call me anytime, man. Rico, I appreciate you so much for coming on the show, man. You have a good night, all right?
You too, David. Take care, man. Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. Coach Rico Dawson right there. Listen, man, I love those type of coaches because, listen, you come in here thinking you're a prima donna, your feelings will get hurt real quick, fast, in a hurry. That's going to wrap up the show for tonight. Man, I want to thank Coach Rico Dawson for coming on the show. I want to thank Coach Thomas Carr coming on the show. Both of them real good friends of the show. And to be honest, I thought it was perfect to have them both on the same show because, they are big on development and they're really good people as well. That's going to wrap it up for tonight. Before we leave for tonight, we got the Hawks Naismith coming up this weekend. So anybody want to go out and see some good games on the boys and girls side, you definitely want to check out the Hawks Naismith Classic this weekend. It'll be at Holy Innocents Thursday and Friday, and Saturday it's at Norcross. So that'll do it for this show. You guys have a good night. We will see you next Monday as usual. Thank you for tuning in. You take care.